Good morning, everyone. My name is Miss Robinson, and I'll be taking over as your teacher for the rest of the year. It's so nice to meet you. Now that I'm taking over, just so you know, anytime you have any questions, whether it's about the PowerPoint, whether it's about the lesson or the work, you can always email me at my email or leave a comment on the Google Classroom. I'm always available to help, whether during the Google Meet time or afterwards, okay? So last week, I know Miss Martinez is working with you on surface area. Now we're going to get into volume of prisms and cylinders. And again, make sure you ask questions if you have them. All right. So first, we're going to start by types of prisms because the word prism is kind of weird. So a prism is a 3D shape with some 2D base shape to it. So a triangular prism has two triangular bases. A square and a rectangular prism are going to be similar. They'll have a rectangular or square base. And yeah. And then there's the pentagonal prism, which has 5-sided bases. The hexagonal prism, which has 6-sided bases. And the oblique prism, which is like one of these regular prisms, except kind of on an angle. And we'll see that as we go through. So the volume of these prisms, volume equals the base times the height, and the big B, the base, is going to be the area of that base, and the H is just going to be the height between them. On the oblique, this will be the perpendicular height, but we'll get into that as we get to an oblique prism. Okay, so we'll start with the volume of a triangular prism. This is going to be the volume equals 1/2 the base of the triangle, the height of the triangle, all times the height between the two triangles. Okay, so my first example, we have this shape here. So volume equals 1/2 times 5, that's the height of the triangle, times 4.5, that's the base of the triangle, times 8, which is the overall height of the shape. So as we multiply 5 times 4.5 times 1/2, that'll be 11.25. We'll multiply that times 8, and our volume will be 90 centimeters cubed. All right? So we just take whatever the area of our bases are and multiply that by the height between them. And you'll see that and get more comfortable with it as we go. Okay, next, the volume of a rectangular prism. This will be the area of the rectangle, which is length times width, times the height, just like a regular volume problem. So if it's a square base, we're still doing the same thing. Volume equals 6 times 6, that's my side lengths of my base, times the height, the 10 centimeters. So volume equals 36 times 10. Volume equals 360 centimeters cubed. Because we are doing volume, it is very important to include your units, and volume has a cube to it. Okay? Now, the volume of a pentagonal prism. These get a little bit different because pentagonal and hexagonal areas are different. So the area of a pentagon is 1/2 times 5 times whatever that side length is, times the height of the pentagon, which is labeled A, and then we'll multiply it all by H. Okay? Well, it's not actually the height of the pentagon. It is like the radius almost, but on a pentagon. Okay? So on this one, we have my A is 6, my side length is 7, and my height is 10. So I have volume equals 1/2 times 5 times the sides, which is 7, times the A, which is 6, times 10. 1/2 times 30 times 7 times 10. 105 times 10. 1,050 centimeters cubed is the volume of this pentagonal prism. Okay? All right. Moving on to the hexagonal. Again, the area is going to be 1/2, now with a 6. 1/2 times 6s times A times H. Okay? So on this figure, my A will be 3, my side length is 4, my height again is 10. So volume will equal 1/2 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 10. 1/2 times 24 times 3 times 10. 36 times 10. 360 centimeters cubed. All right. Nice and simple. Don't let the areas confuse you. You will be allowed to use this PowerPoint on anything, okay? Now, volume of oblique prisms. Oblique prisms, again, are going to have the regular base, but they're going to be angled some. So our height of this, I'm going to label it with an apostrophe. And that will be the perpendicular height to the figure. So an example in this, our perpendicular height, you notice it's dropped down straight, almost like making a triangle with our shape. So in this one, it's a triangular oblique prism. So we're going to use 1/2 times base times height of the triangle. So we'll have volume equals 1/2 times the height of the triangle, which is 6, times the side length of the triangle, which is 5, times 12. So V will equal 1/2 times 30 times 12, 15 times 12, 180 units cubed. They didn't give us centimeters, meters, inches for this one, so you have to use units. All right? Now, the last part of today's lesson is the volume of cylinders. It's a little bit easier because it's only one base. Okay, it's just a circular base of the prism of what we've already done. So, it's a 3D figure with 2 circular bases, and the volume of this is going to be the area of the circle times the height of the cylinder. So, pi times r squared, the radius squared, times height. Remember, if you have the diameter, you just cut that in half and you'll have the radius. So, my example for this one, I'm given my radius is 6 inches, my height is 9 inches, and we're always going to use 3.14 for pi. You don't have to use 3.1 for 159, da 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 da. I don't remember all that. My sister can sing a whole minute of the song. All right, but we're going to plug all this in. So the volume equals 3.14 times r squared, 6 times 6, times the height, which is 9. So then I have volume equals 3.14 times 36 times 9. Remember, since it is multiplication, it is commutative. So you can multiply by pi less. It's not that big of a deal. So 36 times 9 is 324 times my pi, 3.14. I'll multiply that out. 1,017.36 inches squared. Wait, I always want you guys to round to the nearest hundredth. That way you can get as accurate as possible without having to worry what I'm asking for. Alright, so that's all we have for today. Just volume of prisms and cylinders. Make sure you meet for our Google Meets this week. I can't wait to see you all. And complete the worksheet on the volume of prisms and cylinders that is on Google Classroom by Friday. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I can't wait to talk to you guys. Have a good day.